I thought that bottled water was like a last 40, 50-year-old thing. But actually, the first bottled water was made in 1622 in England by the Holywell bottling plant. And so we're going way back. I don't think we've ever covered an industry that goes this far back. But just some quick highlights. In 1767, the first commercial bottled water company opened up in Boston. So it's in the U.S. So it was Jackson Spa in Boston. In 1783, Johann Jacob Schwepp, you've heard of Schweppes, discovered carbonation, and so they started adding fizziness to water. In 1856, bottled water became kind of really popular because of all the different health benefits, and there were some concerns about diseases and cholera outbreaks and things like that. That lasted until 1908, when we started adding chlorine to tap water, which hurt bottled water as a category because tap water just became much more safer. And then in 1947, we discovered plastic, and so the commercial use of plastic water bottles began. And that really made bottled water much more accessible. I guess they were using it in jugs and things like that before. And then we get to, fast forward to the 70s, which is when I thought this started. And you have, campaigns or companies like Perrier that are coming out. It's become, they're emphasizing health and status. And, PET bottles make all carbonated beverages cheap and possible. So you see an explosion in soda, those sorts of things. In the early 2000s, bottled water companies began to compete directly with tap water. Consumers really fear contamination. And so there's lots of EPA regulations in the 2011, 2012s. You hear about, the Flint, Michigan, and people just think like, oh, my water catches on fire if I'm near a fracking well. So people really migrated toward this. And so today, in 2024, the global bottled water industry is over $350 billion, and it's growing pretty quickly, about 7.6% a year. And it's growing particularly quickly in Asia Pacific because of the high density of population as well as the water quality issues there. And so it's clearly like this has been around for a while. And as I was thinking through, I was like, okay, well, how do you go about building a business in probably the world's most commoditized industry?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's what stands out to me in terms of the history of bottled water is that number one, it stemmed from convenience. Number two, it stemmed from fear of contaminated water or water that might get you sick. And it's kind of gone through this ebb and flow. And it seemed like until like 1973, where Perrier really kind of like created a marketing campaign around status for water. I mean, that it really became kind of a marketing type of theme. Though, if I look at the first name of the bottled water company in 1622, the Holywell bottling plant, that name alone probably has some sort of marketing twist on it, I would say. But hey, it could have been for health reasons, it could have been for convenience reasons. I think the invention of plastic obviously was a huge catalyst to the growth of bottled water.